I'm just taking time out with a cup of tea to have a look at the scrapbook about the new children's art house in Ōpōtiki, which began on July the 1st when we vacated, very sadly, 26 Buchanan Street, a building we had loved and done up, but it was returned to Whakatoa Māori Trust Board, and very gladly we were given the keys to the old timber mill in the next door street, in Wellington Street. But the shed was abandoned for many years and it was filled with broken furniture, iron, with spiders, birds, cobwebs, and we had a lot of work to do, and volunteers clustered around and stepped in to help us clean out. The building smelt. It was damp and unsanitary, and we all wore face masks and glasses, and we tried to get away the huge piles of sawdust collected since 1945. We were very lucky that Bela from Germany arrived and was with us for a month. He helped us as a builder and overseer with his wonderful brain and tremendous energy in organising all the small broken pieces, all the problems we were having with plumbing and water, and Bela did an enormous job in organising the moving of the huge iron machines and getting them outside. They were all bolted to the floor, and there were 15 of them. They were rusty, dangerous, and the first job was to remove them. In the ceiling there had been a toilet at some stage. There were things like motor mowers, beds, and pipes everywhere. Pipes and cables that took the sawdust outside because there were 15 big pieces of machinery working in here. Terry Watson, who came from resin, was an absolute hero in giving us resin paint, and we are redoing the whole building, and we're repainting the floor once we've got all the iron screws and debris out, and we've made it into a patchwork floor. But vast piles of rubbish were accumulated outside. Some of the walls were broken and needed to be replaced, and that was big work which Salt oversaw the construction and the quality control with Bela, and they assembled new walls for us in the particularly dangerous areas. There was a very large furnace outside which had to come down, and also a very, very large machine that was used for siphoning off wood. But the piles grew bigger and bigger outside. We had to move the toilets from outside inside, and that meant some difficult building construction was going on. We also had plans for putting the kitchen inside. The big furnace came down, and so did other big things, all in one day, when we had Metal Solutions people come along and use their very big machines to help us, all done voluntarily. And I looked on the 1st of September to see how much money we had spent. $169 had been spent, and the food had been given generously, feeding all the workers, and Peter Irving had supervised community service hours. So we put up our mailbox and a fence, and then we went outside and saw all the rusty iron and the rusty machines just piled up everywhere. Bits of tin roof because we took down a roof. A lot of fan belts and equipment. Goodness knows how you would ever use it. None of us knew, because they were large piles of scrap timepieces. We were donated 3 kitchen sinks, and very gratefully it meant we could put a kitchen in and we could have wash basins in as well. Under the stairs we made a paint room to store our paint, And upstairs we're turning into an office for the adults. And the downstairs floor, once cleaned of everything, is going to be a wonderful place for our projects. We're going to have a garden project, a dancing project, Big O filming project. Many projects will be able to now be operated far more easily than they were in our little house of the past. Once all the walls had been stripped, we realised we could put a stage in, and that was really exciting. So we're looking forward to putting on more shows and more films. The size of some of the equipment was quite breathtaking, and this particular giant tumbler was a very, very big piece to take out. And we thought we'd break the trailer, but we managed to get it on and get it out. Then there were holes in the floor that needed to be filled, and they were filled about the same time as the large pieces of iron were hoisted up by Metal Solutions and taken away. And then the concrete building outside had to be smashed up, and large hunks of concrete flying through the air, smashing up concrete, because it was very unsafe, and we needed to deal with that as well. The community service boys came, cooked their kai, and worked for long days doing painting and building. And we looked at all the strengthening the structures. And underneath the blue canvas was all the art house material. Then we had our first visitor, Joe Akel from America, from New York, came, an art educator and advocate, and very enthusiastically agreed that this building was going to be fantastic. Then Trinity arrived as a builder and a plumber and an electrician, qualified in all of those things, and he did enormous work putting in the plumbing and working through old concrete. We put in a gate out the back, and it disappeared overnight because around the house, around this new art house, there were a lot of horses, and that matter is being sorted out. The men took some of the old broken concrete and made a beautiful new path for us leading to the gateway, and so that means we get have dry feet all the way. So now we have the first visit by the children to see the progress. We put up a few paintings and a few flags, and we had Jim Wikotu come, who used to work in this building. His first job was in this building, and he told the children all about it and how he had to go and tell the men where the big trees were, and then those big trees were built here and cut up, and he wishes that he had never done that and that he had left the big trees. And so the press came and took a picture of the first children who came into the art house, and they put a blessing on the art house. And now we're off on our first lessons, and we're sending some work to Washington to the World Children's Festival, which will be done here in our new art house in Ōpōtiki, and everyone is very happy.